unfortunately, or fortunately and unfortunately, since subscriptions have come in with the sub button, I have to give value to my subs. So one of those things is not allowing people that weren't regulars to my channel prior to me getting a sub button to post links in chat. So only subs can post links in chat unless you're a regular prior to that. But you can join my Phil Does 3D server and post links in the general chat there. You don't have to be a sub to do that. Let me just check this out for a sec. Let me open up my Edge browser. Okay. Just let me get myself organized over here for a minute, guys. Hey Rage, good to see you. Oh, thanks Rage. I'm glad you like the lighting, and it's great to see you too. So this is the link that Zevian's posted. The height map works on normal meshes. The height map is much bigger here than the base color tiles, approximately 7 times. So I'm just trying to work out what this user here is doing. So he's saying it's working on a mesh, normal mesh, but on the ground it's much bigger here than the base color tiles, approximately 7 times. Yeah, again, as Johan pointed out, yeah, no, they do have a desktop app, Johan. I think it was Johan that pointed this out. It's to do with the, yeah, it's the displacement setting in the tessellation part of the spinner. So basically the tessellation is set up too high. Either that, or it's a problem with the height map that they're using, because you generally use a height map for tessellation. Zebian saying you don't have it set up like that user does. Only on the left, only the same problem. Yep. Yeah, no. So it's one of two problems. It's either the setting in the tessellation is too high, like the height is too high, or there's a problem in the height map. But I'd say looking at the rest of the texture, because it's okay, it's probably more setting in. That's a weird problem I'm seeing here with this user, because most of it is fine. It's just here and there he's getting this that could be a dip actually. So it's either going to be the tessellation setting too high, the depth is too high, or the height is too high, or there's a problem with the height map that they're using in their shader here. Nightbot can be a real spam sometimes. Sorry about that, guys. That's a best guess, but to me that generally looks like the height. There's a problem with the setting and the height. A problem with the setting of the tessellation, the height in the tessellation setting. What does he mean by normal meshes? Yeah, I'd like to know too. I think he. Yeah, that's. I don't really know what he means either, Sniper Echo, by normal meshes, unless he means like that's a sphere. So maybe he means that's like the built-in sphere that comes in the editor that you can drag in. Yeah, I don't understand what he means by normal meshes either, or unless he just means any mesh. I think what he probably means by normal meshes here is the sphere that you bring in Unreal. You know how you can drag your sphere in from here? I'm assuming anyway. Johan, maybe it's working fine on the mesh because of the difference in surface between the mesh and a terrain. Bigger surface, different effect. That's very true. Yep. And again, that will go more to the UVs. So what Johan is basically saying is it may be working okay on his mesh because it's a much smaller object than the terrain that it's being applied to here. That's the only thing I can think of. To me, that problem here looks like it's just strange that it's not happening everywhere. Generally, if there's a problem with the height, it's going to happen everywhere, not in spots here and there. And the only thing I can think of that would cause that sort of problem would be a problem with the texture that they're using for the height map. Yeah, no, Sniper Echo, that's right, it may be. But the first thing I would do is, yeah, like Johan has said, if he set up the height map for this sphere and then tried to apply it to the terrain, it's not going to be the same because there's the actual size of the mesh is completely different, so it's going to behave differently. And Johan says, yeah, make sure the textures are tiling the same amount as well. Yep, that's true. So yeah, for problems like that, I'd look at number one at the setting in the tessellation for the height, and number two, I'd look at the height map used in the texture in the shader. Zerbian says they do, and they are from the kite demo that Epic released. Okay. It happens with every texture you have. So you're saying that this, what you're using, this isn't your problem. But what we're seeing on the screen here isn't Zerbian's problem. It's a demonstration of what problem he's having. And he's saying, so you're using the texture that came with the kite demo that Epic Games made for Unreal. That's very strange, unless it's a bug that's maybe... I haven't come across that here though. Like I said, I was about to say it may be a bug that's in 16 point whatever you're using or whatever version you're using. But I'm not having that problem with my tessellation, so I don't think it's a bug in the engine. So the only thing I could think of that could be a problem would be the height map or the setting in the for the tessellator. I can pop it. Cool. Yeah, Sniper Echo is working with the Unreal Engine as well, so thanks Sniper for checking into that for me. Where did I get my foliage rage? I made a lot of it, and some of it's from Speedtree. It's all Speedtree plants. Some of it I purchased and some of it I made, just depending on what it is. Let's turn on real time and let's tempt fate here with OBS so we can see it moving in the wind. Just OBS hates it. It starts dropping frames, dropping my FPS when I have it on. It's fine in the engine, but yeah, it drops in OBS itself. Yeah, no rage. It's all Speedtree plants. That's why everything moves in the wind, including all the grass here and all that type of stuff. Subtle, because it's not blowing a gale outside. I just wanted a nice breezy, lightly breezy day. So yeah, we have all of our plants animating in the wind. That's everything: flowers, trees, grass, the lot. And we will have it all moving in when we create our cinematic. Everything will be moving in the breeze. You can see it probably here on the tree a bit better now. So yes, Speedtree. And again guys, Speedtree for UE4, because I actually use Speedtree in my design work in ArchViz as well, because I use Vue too, but so they make a version that's a cinema version that you use for ArchViz or for cinema work, film work, but they make one for Unreal and you can rent it for $19 a month. You only have to keep renting it until you've made your trees, and then you can stop your subscription and continue using your trees in your game or whatever you're doing. I've really got to stop Nightbot. It's really spamming badly. So yeah, $19 a month to rent Speedtree for UE4, a subscription. You only have to subscribe for as long as it takes you to make your trees in Speedtree. Once you've made them, you save them out, and then you can stop your subscription and continue using your trees you've made in Unreal. So it's just a good option if you want some really nicely animated stuff for your game or for your cinematic or for whatever it is you're creating in Unreal. Yeah, an option for you guys. You don't need to use Speedtree plants. It just integrates really well with Unreal with their wind That's the reason I'm using it. It saved me having to do a lot of because you can animate things like grass and trees through a material, through a shader. You can do it that way. I just didn't want to go down that track because I have speed tree and it's just easier and quicker for me to do it like this. So that's why I use speed tree. And they make nice trees, so. But yeah, don't feel you need to. You can do it all by animating the texture in a shader to get your movement as well. The advantage with speed tree, of course, is I have a wind actor in my level, and I can make the I can increase or decrease the windiness, for lack of a better word, the environment if I wanted to. Johan, speed tree is like procedural vegetation creator. Yeah, I guess you could say it is. Yep. Procedural in that they use algorithms to create the trees or the grass and stuff when you're making your tree or whatever it is you're making your plant. So yeah, no, it is procedural. Yep. But the advantage is you can save out the trees from speed tree and use them directly in Unreal with the wind and all that type of good stuff. So you can actually turn wind on in speed tree while you're making your stuff to get it to see what it's moving like and make it move more or less the way you want it to before you export it to Unreal. It's a great program. I really like SpeedTree. I use I use Eon View to do my environment renders that you see on my web page. So if we just quickly jump back to my site and look at my gallery. The gallery is old. I need to update it. Most of my work here has been created in Eon View. And they have their own plant editor as well called Plant Factory, I think it is. Now, I don't generally use Plant Factory because I prefer SpeedTree, but I do use their 3D environment program called Eon View, VUE, to do my renders. Like that's all done in Eon View. Most of these are all done in Eon View. Because that's all it does. It's an environment rendering program and it does it very well. Just something you can download a PLE version of it too if you want to try it out, a free version. Go to Eon's website and download the PLE and install it and play around with it. If you like it, then they've got all different versions you can buy, from basic versions all the way up to studio sort of versions, just depending on the features you want as to what version you buy, and the price of course as well. But do download it, check it out, play with it, because it does environments really nicely. But I'm impressed with the way Unreal does their environments. For a real-time game engine, it does a really good job. Really impressive. And the reason that we're doing this project is because I want to see the difference between the UDK, which was the last time I used Unreal, and UE4. Yeah, Sniper Echo is giving some advice there to Zerbian, and that's clamping the value could be a good option. Again, thanks Sniper Echo for checking in on that for me. I should mod you, shouldn't I? You've been a regular of mine since the beginning. Sniper Echo is my oldest regular, I think, on the channel. I love you all equally, but Sniper Echo has been around forever, and I appreciate that, dude. So yes, SpeedTree, great for animated plants, wind animated plants in Unreal. Also great for creating plants to bring into Eon View too. So it's useful for quite a few different things. Not that the version that you rent from for UE4 you can't use in Eon View. You'd have to use the proper version for that. Cool. Yeah, thanks Snowbreak. I really do appreciate it, dude. Alright, let's turn off real time so OBS doesn't freak out anymore. And let's go back into our building. I didn't mean old dude. Hey, he's one of my oldest supporters on Twitch. He was watching my channel from when I first started. That's what I mean by old. And yeah. So we are working on this interior here. We did our plaster in the middle of our room. We could bring in the curtains now. Might be a good option. Now that we've got the plaster and the windows done, we can bring the curtains in, so let's do that. Let's grab this one here, I think. And I'm going to duplicate it. I shouldn't have placed this gate here until I'd got that side done. This is what I mean by things getting in the way when you're working. That's alright, we'll work around it. Now I'm just going to make sure I'm getting this in the right spot. I'm wondering whether we should bring... No, I was going to say whether we should bring 2 more columns in, but I think more columns along here will just get too busy. Stop getting in the way. Push that back. We're going to have to make some adjustments here to our Oh, can I? How do you unhide it then? Sniper? The sniper is saying I can select the gate and press H to hide it. Is it H again to unhide it? Ah, nice. How do I unhide it, Sniper? I've hidden my gate, which is great, but how do I get it back? Let's have a look at the size of this curtain here. I think it might be big. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yep, here. Right. Okay. Okay, cool. Thanks for that shortcut. That's actually really handy. I actually forgot about the world outliner here. I work away here and here so often I forget that that's there. That's a good tip. Thanks. Now this curtain, I actually forgot about this, and I think I'm just going to look at this from the other side. Let's just pull back here and get a better overview of what's going on. See, now the problem I'm having here with this curtain is I can't have it just popping into one of the panels like that. That looks really weird and wrong. Just sort of sticking into the paneling like that. In here, it's not a problem because we have columns either side of the window. And I think I'm going to have to do the same thing in the other room, just so they blend a bit better and they don't look like they're sticking out of nothing. So I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to the first thing I'm going to do, I think, is move this curtain out of the way. Actually, we can hide it, can't we? Yeah, we can probably just hide it. Let's do that. The shears as well. I think what I'm probably going to have to do is place a column here, and here. Let's have a look. Now again, these columns were never designed to be placed in the middle of a wall like that. They're really designed to go in the corner. But we can scale them non-uniformly and make them fit, as long as we're careful. So if I bring that over, again I just got to make sure it's into the wall enough so that we don't see the inside of the column, and I've also got to make sure it doesn't stick through my building outside, and it should be fine. Again, that's why we have an outer wall, an inner brick wall before we get to the inside of the building, just to give us a bit of play there in case we need to do stuff like this. I think here what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this panel. I'm going to duplicate this asset again. Let's unhide our curtain. If I can find it. I'll start with just the curtain itself. It'll probably be, actually no I can't, I have to select everything together, otherwise I'm going to lose my positioning. I should have really turned it into a blueprint before I hit it, I think. That's okay. Yeah, just having the columns there gives the curtain something to attach to. It gives that curtain, I don't know what you call that rail at the top, something to attach to, not just attaching to the middle of a plaster wall. I just read that message, Sniper Recce, you think your English is broke? No, I got the gist of what you're saying. Your English good. Real good. Now it's just a question of getting our columns to match our curtain runner. Which I think means this one has to come out a bit. I think that one will be okay. Now we've got this problem here with this really narrow piece of paneling, and I think it's a bit too narrow for me to scale. If I try and scale this to match that small section of wall, it's going to really mess up the texture. Like, you see what it's doing, it's too squished. We really can't work with something that's squished. Yeah, that's starting to get a bit extreme there. We have a couple of options. We can again create a separate panel for this part of the wall. You saw me scale it out there. Basically what I'm doing is now I'm hiding the frame, that frame that runs around the outside edge. I could do that, I could get around it that way. But it's not great. The asset wasn't made to be used like that, really. It's doable. It's not terrible, but we either have the option of creating a unique piece for this wall, using a plain piece of plaster that we've created for that wall, or doing it like that. I think we probably get away with doing it like this, I think. It's not ideal because, like I said, it was never designed to frame. This piece of plaster was never designed to be used like this. But I think if we hide the frame a little bit, we can get away with it. it looks like the frame here is just at the bottom and the top, not all the way around like it should be here. But because it's a small section on the wall and it's right near the door, if you're making a game, I don't think a player would ever really notice if they were running through here. So I think we'll do that. Why not? Okay. Now I'm just making sure that these columns are into the wall enough. And I've just got to scale this piece of plaster up again now to make it a bit wider to fit there. I'll make it just a little bit wider again. Again, and I allowed for that when I made the plaster pieces. That's why I didn't place the frame here all the way up to the edge, because I wanted a bit of play that I could use here to either blend two panels together or sink it into the wall, into columns a bit more. I'm going to be doing the same thing with the ceiling here when we start working on the paneling for the ceiling. I'm going to do a similar sort of thing, and I'll show you that when I jump into Max. Now I'm just checking, looks like did I not unhide my shears? No, let's do that. Okay, we're going to have to bring it forward because it looks like it's a bit too far into our window. That should work for us. So it looks like it's a bit far out from the window there now. Zerbian. Okay. You send him a message, do you think he's AFK? Yeah, cool. No problem, Zerbian. Like I said, either do it through the Twitch app. If you do it through the desktop app for the Phil Does 3D server, you can just post the image directly into chat, or you can send it to my email address or Twitter, or phil@phildoes3d.com. On Twitter? No, that's cool. Do it through Twitter then. That's not a problem. Yeah, the advantage, like I said, that you guys have with the Phil Does 3D server is you can post images directly into chat on the server. You don't have to actually upload them to an image source and then post a link. You can send the image, post the image directly in chat. Just something for you guys to be aware of. And yeah, I did that simply because, like I said, unless you're a subscriber or a regular like Sniper Echo or Rage, you can't post links in chat, in Twitch chat. I wonder if we can move our column out a little bit more. No, not really. Oh, maybe. No. No. Just want to make sure the curtain isn't too far out from the wall. It might be better if I move the window in a little. Yeah, that might be a better option, I think. Sent it? Okay, let's check it out. You sure you, let me just refresh my page here. Okay. So what am I going to be looking at here? What did you actually send me again? An image of what? Okay, you're showing me your tessellation settings here. correct free displacement, adaptive tessellation, max displacement. The first picture. Did you send me more than one? Okay. Okay, hang on. Sorry, I missed that you'd sent two there. And let's open up another tab. Okay, so this is your material. Let's have a look. Which base color, going to a texture sample. You've got your normal, and you've got your world displacement into a multiply, vertex normal, multiply, layer blend. I'm assuming that's your height map. Rage is asking if what I'm working on now is my favorite project so far. Favorites. I don't like to pick favorites. I have the advantage in my job of, well, not so much in my job, not my archbiz work in the studio. They tell me what I'm working on. But my private projects, I have the advantage in that I can choose what I want to do. Like, I sell my work online, but the stuff that I sell is stuff that I want to make, unless I'm doing a commission for someone, but generally it's stuff I want to make. So every project I do is my favorite. The Unreal stuff, though, I'll come back to you in a minute. We'll look at this in just a sec. The Unreal stuff, it is simply because I really like this real-time aspect to Unreal. Because I work in ArchViz and I'm so used to having to render out stuff, you don't get to see the final product until hours later once it's rendered out properly. You can get an idea by doing quick renders, but I really like the real-time aspect of a game engine. And I really like the Unreal Engine because Epic Games have done just an amazing job with the lighting. The engine itself is beautiful to use. From an artist's point of view, and trust me, this is coming from somebody who's worked in games development and worked on other engines that have been nightmares. Using the Unreal Engine is just a dream. So yeah, probably so far this is probably one of my favourite projects. Yeah, although I do like them all. Thanks, Rage. I'm glad you like the lighting and the foliage. I need to help Capcom. Yeah, I haven't played many Capcom games. One of my bugbears used to be when I was working in games development was, we're talking, I left games about 6 years or so ago, and the limitations then were quite extreme, like consoles weren't as powerful, graphics cards weren't as powerful, so you had to make a lot of compromises on things, and foliage and vegetation is always the first thing that they start cutting. They don't want you to use a polygon tree when you can stick a plane there with a picture of a tree on it, sort of thing. That used to annoy me. I didn't like that. They had to do it because, you've only got so much power to work with on a graphics card. But it just used to make things look like shit. Pardon my French. And as an artist, I hate seeing my work made to look like shit. So yeah, I left games because I wanted my work to look the way I wanted it to, not the way it had to, because of the engine. Yeah. So if you play a game and the things are looking pretty crappy, it can be the designer is just not a good designer. But always remember too, it could be because the art director or the project manager or somebody in charge higher up has said, we need to increase performance in our game, and your stuff is the first thing to be degraded. And vegetation is generally the first place they go to, simply because there's so much of it in a game level, particularly in a scene like this. If the graphics card or whatever they're making it for might be mobile, it could be anything. If it's starting to slug the engine, then they're going to tell you to knock it back. Yeah. But, yeah, I want my work to look as good as it can, not like crap. So I went to work in ArchViz again, and because I work with renderers, I don't have problems with polygon counts or texture memory and stuff. Holy crap, Phil, what just went down? Oh no. Oh, well, you know, it's a mature channel, and I don't consider shit too much of a swear word. That's right, I'm very passionate about what I do. But remember, guys, I'm a mature channel, but I do prefer not to swear on either in chat or on stream. You know, if you're into swearing, good for you, but I'm not, generally. Well, I love you guys too, Rage. You know I love all you guys. And if I make up faux pas and I swear here and there, then you'll have to forgive me. Johan's asking, did I ever see or play any of the Witcher 3, the amount of vegetation? Oh, yes, I did. And if you look here, I have Witcher 3 as a quick link here on my start menu. It's a great game. One of the best games I've played in a very long time. The environments are beautifully done. The gameplay is really good. The stories, I play video games for story. I'm not really into multiplayer games very much. I prefer to play single player story driven games. And the Witcher 3 story is just amazing. And the environments are amazing, and they did such a good job. CD Projekt Red, you can't fault them. They did a great job. Yep. Yeah, no, they did. They really, really did a good job. One of the few games companies nowadays that do really good work. And I'm looking at you, what's that Andromeda game, the Mass Effect Andromeda game, that was rubbish. The environments were nice, don't get me wrong, but the facial animation and the character design was just terrible. And I thought the story was a bit lame as well. Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, that should be really good. I agree, Johan. Oh, Sniper, you really got to play Witcher. They're great games, really great. You can pick up Witcher 2 now really cheap too. It's always on sale. Yeah, but Witcher 3 is an amazing game. And I have to say I prefer Witcher 3 to Witcher 2. Witcher 2 was still great, but Witcher 3 is better. No, like I said, you can't fault CD Projekt Red. They do some really amazing work. Yeah, and the environment work is really nicely done. And it plays really nicely as well. Like there's the optimization in the game is done very nicely too. Johan saying Andromeda was disappointing. Yeah, on so many fronts, I agree. Look, like I said, the environment work they did in Mass Effect Andromeda was really nice. Like the desert environments and all of that was nicely done. But just the facial animation and the character design was a real letdown. Sniper says that, oh, you own them, but you haven't got around to playing them. Well, you got to play them, dude. If you're talking about Witcher 3, definitely play Witcher 3. It's an amazing game. I'm only halfway through that game, and mind you, I don't get a lot of time to play games at the moment, but because of work. But I'm still only halfway through it. There's hundreds of hours of gameplay in The Witcher. Hundreds. Really good gameplay, really good story-driven gameplay. Johan says the environment is really the only thing good that you can think of for that game. Yeah, it's a shame because the Mass Effect games were great prior to that. I don't know, maybe they just tried to rush it out to market a bit too quickly and, you know, maybe they tried to do a money grab. The game wasn't ready to be released, really, I don't think. Again, that happens all the time in games development. I know from when I worked in it that you get the publishers that are breathing down your neck constantly wanting a release. So you've got to have a pretty strong person in charge to say no. Or they won't give you the money, basically, either. If you don't meet your deadline, they won't give you the money. So you can't pay your staff. No, I agree, Sniper. And Mass Effect Andromeda looked amazing as far as the environments went. The characters really threw me out of bit. When you play a game, you're sort of like immersed in that game world. And then when you see a character that looks really plasticky and the mouth sync doesn't work properly, the eyes look dead, there's no emotion, it really throws you out of that game, out of that headspace of when you're being in the world. Because you play games to escape, and as soon as you see this puppet-like thing pop up on screen in Andromeda, you immediately notice. Johan says, for someone who never played the original Mass Effect games, it was maybe slightly below average. The fans are going to love anything that in that universe, because they're really invested in the story in Mass Effect. So, and the fans always love any continuation of that storyline, even though I think it was a different storyline, but still set in that Mass Effect universe.